Yo, what's going on? Excuse me for the uneventful background here. Figured, well, first of all, let's get this going here. Got the little live bug in me. The live bug. But, just picked up this piece right here. Whammo! What's up, Mish? Just picked up this piece right here, Sheldo. Stairmaster. So I figured, usually when I'm doing my cardio, I wind up just watching like a bunch of conspiracy videos or Joe Rogan podcast, big one. Love the Joe Rogan podcast. Been rocking the, there's a podcast called Jocko Podcast. Been watching that also lately. And that's a ex-Navy SEAL. He's got his own podcast. He has a lot of like POWs on there, soldiers. Anyway, really motivating podcast to watch. But I figured while I was doing my cardio, yeah, I know it's not that interesting. You don't have to stick around. It's all right. I'm kind of just doing this to clear my own head. Yeah, I figured go live. Just kind of let my thoughts out here. Let's increase the intensity a little bit. Okay. And just talk about whatever. Give me something to do while I'm doing my cardio instead of just, you know, watching different videos, conspiracy videos and shit like that. So we just picked up this Stairmaster, which is usually yeah, I know. Actually, it's right here. So it's good enough. I don't have to go much higher than this, but if I had one of the like the revolving staircase ones, I don't think this would cut it because you get a lot higher on those. But this Stairmaster right here, if you look it up, it's like a 4600 like PT, something like that, and they're like brand new. They're like $2,000, maybe more. You could probably get one now. I think probably around like $1,600, $1,500. I don't even want to say how much we got this for. Because if one day both my legs fall off and I want to sell it, I won't feel bad about making a little buck off it. But I paid next to nothing for this thing. So anyway, I'm going to start doing this little cardio and chat. And we can talk about whatever you want. Or I'll just sit here and talk to myself. I actually assumed that I would be sitting here talking to myself mostly. Hey, baby. How you doing? How's work going? Actually starting to smell a little something burning. It ain't my fat. So I don't know what's up with this thing. Maybe that's why I got it so cheap. I'm all over the place. The one thing I did notice on this is which may or may not be a problem. It looks like they cut the ground prong off of the plug, so I'm gonna have to replace the plug on this thing. I've never really stood in this part of the basement before, and especially this side of the ceiling. But there is like a weird smell. It's not my BO. So I'm wondering if, you know what, we're just going to rock it out. If I set on fire, then I'll really be burning some fat. But, whew, there we go, I'm starting to go. These Stairmasters, though, these are probably my favorite cardio machines to use. Like I said, I do like using the revolving staircase ones. Those ones are the best. You can't buy those for like less than $5,000. I mean, you could probably find some used ones. I think we saw a used one. I don't remember where it was. Jersey, maybe, for like less than $1,000. But those things are also like 700 pounds. So who the hell is picking that up? I mean, most of you guys that know me know that I had back surgery last year. Or some people may not know that, but I had spine surgery last year. Actually, July will be 1 year since my surgery. and I'm still having problems. I'm still having back problems. So I actually have a lot of fitness friends, a lot of way back in the day, 75-pound vest. Well, this ain't way back in the day. Way back in the day, I could tie my shoes without feeling like I was 80 years old. So right now, I'm just trying to get back to a point where I feel like, you know, my back isn't gonna compromise every move I make, because it's really shitty. I mean, I'm thankful that I have mobility. I'm able to work. I can pretty much do whatever I want. But when it comes to picking things up, make sure there's no fire going on down here. Picking things up, picking up my son, tying the shoes, simple things like that. Like, I definitely can't do heavy lifts, no squatting. Before I had my surgery, it's really embarrassing. I was wondering if somebody videotaped it and it was going to wind up on YouTube, but I actually did. I attempted to do a back squat with just the bar, 45 pounds. I went down, and here's where you could tell how little back strength that I have. I literally fell backwards just with the bar on my shoulders. So again, I am thankful that I'm able to work. You know, I can run around with my son, but it's just right now trying to regain the strength in the lower back and the mobility. So I had another MRI done a couple months ago, and I looked at it, my chiropractor looked at it, and it looks good. I mean, they did a good job as far as the surgery, or at least that's what the MRI was showing. There's no disc protrusion anymore. So if anybody's actually interested, not that anybody's really watching, but I had a L4, L5, basically like a herniated disc protrusion, and it was sticking out pretty bad. I did chiropractor for probably a year straight, up to 3 times a week at some times. And I'm a big fan of the chiropractors. I know a lot of people are against chiropractic work, but my grandfather's chiropractor, which he just turned 91, so happy birthday to you, Seymour Mac, the real Seymour Mac Goldstein. Amazing. The guy is still working 2 or 3 days a week. Still works at his own practice. Gets driven into Brooklyn, cracks up a bunch of people, gets driven back to Manhattan, and he's been doing that now. I don't even know how long since he's been a chiropractor, but my whole entire life, absolutely. So I'm a big fan of chiropractic work, but also, now, my grandfather's 91, so he's very old school, and the way he explained it to me was, you got the guys who are all hands. I mean, you could walk into my grandfather's office, he'll tell you, yeah, I can see your right hip is dropped, you know, your right shoulder's dropped, here's what we gotta do, bang, bang, boom, boom. No fancy equipment, maybe some muscle stimulation equipment. That's pretty much it, and then it's all hands. And then you have a lot of the new chiropractors where it's all computer. It's all computer imaging. It's all, you know, just new fancy equipment. But these people lack the old school intelligence of just being hands-on. So I can understand why some people go to the chiropractor and they just think it's bullshit. And sometimes you go and you have a problem. Before I had my back issues, I had a neck problem. Found a chiropractor up here. I go to Dr. Ryan McGraw. And, excuse me, says his cardio is starting to work. And he's good. He's really good. He reminds me of my grandfather as far as being more hands than fancy equipment, and I appreciate that. But he fixed my neck up pretty good, but the back was just too far gone. The disc protrusion was, when he first saw the MRI before the surgery, I mean, he just had to admit, there's nothing we can do for you here. There's no amount of decompression or traction table, anything that's going to help this. It's just too far out there. So what we're trying to do through that whole process is really just obviously relieve the pain and hopefully get that vertebrae, that disc, excuse me, to suck back in pretty much to the point where it's not hurting and not limiting the mobility. But there was a point right before the surgery where I was getting a lot of pain in my right leg, so it was affecting the nerve. And then right before the surgery, the leg pain went away. You had the same thing too, right? Yeah, so I mean, you know that it's just a beast to deal with. And I mean, you got another kid, so I mean, picking up those kids, chasing them around, I mean, that shit hurts. It hurts a lot. So I was able to work before that, but I finally just had to have the surgery. So a couple things about the surgery. So I went to the Laser Spine Institute because I saw all the fancy commercials, and I figured least invasive procedure would probably be the best. Back in the day, they used to go in, you get about a 4-inch scar on your back, and what I got was a laminectomy, so they basically drilled a hole through my spine to get to the part of the disc. What's up, Gerald? What's going on? Actually, I'm going to pause my story for a second and say something to Gerald. Gerald, just want you to know, extremely motivating. Your post, extremely motivating. Please keep it up, man. Because what I was just talking about was the fact that I had to have back surgery last year, spine surgery. And right now, it's almost a year. It'll be July, will be a year. And I'm still trying to recover from this. So I still have back pain all the time. Right? So I actually stopped going to the chiropractor because two things. One, limited, how do I say this? There's limited relief in the short term. Yeah, I feel like I'm 80 years old. And my insurance stopped covering it. My insurance will only cover about 20 visits a year to a specialist. So I started having to pay out of pocket. So right now I'm going to do like once a month. Yeah, I'm still going. Going to do the chiropractor once a month still, just to create some separation in the spine. He doesn't adjust the lower back, just stretches it out. Gives me something that I termed the bro hug, which if I explained it to you, you would question my sexuality. But this basically, the things that work now for the back are stretching of the spine, stretching of the hamstrings, stretching of the glute muscles, and the lower back. So what we're thinking now is, and when I say we, me and the chiropractor, are thinking that, yeah, surgery went well. They did what they had to do. They went in there, and I know I'm all over the place, but they went in there, gave me the laminectomy, very non-invasive procedure. I was in and out. I think I walked out of there on my own feet within 4 hours of going in. So very non-invasive. And then I was out of work for 3 months. And luckily I have a good job. I had short term. No, I'm not catching my breath. And I was able to take that time off. But any man knows when you're just sitting at home, you got projects. We had just bought the house. You start thinking like, all right, yeah, I know I just had surgery, but yeah, it's time to get some of this shit done. Let's rip some cabinets off the wall. So I'm not going to go into... Sorry. You want me to tell a story about the addictomy? All right, I'm going to go off track a little bit here, but this is what the cardio and chat is all about. All right, so a quick story that my fiance just pointed out to me or reminded me to tell was when I went to the Laser Spine Institute. I went in for the surgery. I had come out of the surgery. Obviously, I was all groggy and messed up. Anybody knows when you come out of that anesthesia, woo! Talk about high, woo! I was loopy. So I was telling the nurses, I'm like, how'd it go? Oh, it went great. Surgery went great. I'm like, all right, yeah, it was the addictomy, right? It was a success. Addict to me. And they were just like, I don't know what you're talking about. What is he talking about? Addictomy? He had a laminectomy. Doctor comes over to surgeon. I'm like, hey, doc, how'd that addictomy go? He just starts fucking cracking up, man. He was like, yeah, you wish. So I don't know if they were peeking under the trousers, but yeah, that's my addictomy story. So unfortunately, no addictomy was performed. An elongation. All right, we're not going to go into that. All right, this is a family show here. But I came out of the surgery pretty pretty cautious, a little weary because, you know, a lot of back pain from the surgery. And then over time, they were saying, like, the way they made it sound to me was 3 months, you're going to be good to go. You can go back to work, no restrictions. So I'm thinking, let's increase this up a little bit. I'm thinking, all right, 3 months, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be freaking playing ball. I never played ball. I'm going to be doing all sorts of shit that I used to be able to do. Yeah, that's all right. You're the only one watching. This is more of a mental relief for me than anything else. And I figured also that if I were to get into the habit of doing the cardio and chat, I would probably be more willing to do the cardio part of it. So if there is anybody watching, let's have a conversation. We can talk about anything. It doesn't matter. Not that I stroking my ego here and think anybody really wants to watch what I have to say. You know, why not? Let's talk. We can talk about anything. We can talk about politics. We can talk about Seth Rich, which I just watched some very interesting videos on the investigation into Seth Rich. We could talk about back surgery, which is what I was talking about today. Let's see how far along we are here. I'll tell you what, this Stairmaster thing is a beast. Still not on fire, so whatever that smell is, it's starting to go away. Might be from just not using it for a while. Oh man, how's work going? Nice and boring. This is what it's about right here. Getting that sweat on. Wearing that winter cap all summer long. That's how I roll. Whew. Tell you what though, this cardio's starting to kick in. So, anyway, I'm all alone now. It's only me. So, cardio and chat, episode 1, off to a slow start. That's alright. I'm going to keep going on about my surgery story now, because it helps for me to talk about it, I think. Helps to get me motivated. I found it pretty hard in the post-surgery to get motivated to get back into working out, although I have been as of lately. Just at the house, haven't gone back to a gym yet. Didn't really see spending the money and the time, you know, sacrificing a little bit more time with my son to go to the gym. We have enough stuff here at the house where I can get going. What's up, Matt Gray? Hey, Matt. That kid is adorable, man. Absolutely adorable, man. I love seeing the pictures. And it's been a long time since we've seen each other. Just want to welcome you to the cardio and chat. The old cardio and chat right here. Anyway, post-back surgery, really hard to get motivated. And right now, pretty much the only thing that I'm finding, and if any of my fitness buddies actually tune in or wind up seeing this video, maybe they could chime in. I'm well open to advice. I know you guys know a lot more about how the body functions and muscular structure and how the muscle attachments and all sorts of technical shit. So I'm open to taking advice on this post-back surgery. But the only thing that really works for me now is yoga, surprisingly. I mean, as a guy, yoga is always something that you laugh at, you shy away from. You know, especially if you're a weightlifter, you know, you're thinking, I'm lifting heavy weights, what the fuck do I need to go do some yoga for? But let me tell you something right now. The yoga is the only thing that is working for my back. Absolutely. So I started just doing some yoga at the house off of YouTube. Actually, I'll give a shout out. Yoga with Adrian. I think she's a girl from Texas. Just very easy to follow videos. And she has a couple specific to relieving lower back pain. So I started out with those. And I did those for a few weeks. And I could tell right away that the flexibility in my hamstrings is like non-existent. And now I'm wondering the whole time why the hell my back is still hurting. Well, guess what? From practically sitting on the couch for 3 months. I probably have some atrophy in my hamstring muscles, certainly my lower back muscles. I don't know what they're called, but the little muscles that attach the parts of the spine to each other, those ones are probably non-existent around my L4, L5. And I will admit I haven't been the best about really doing the rehab necessary for rebuilding those small muscles. Oh, look at that. A little sweat coming on now. But I am trying. So cardio and chat is my way of keeping myself honest. I'm going to try to do this every day for the length of my cardio, which today will be 30 minutes on the new Stairmaster that we just picked up. We got an awesome deal on. I don't remember the guy's name, but thank you, guy. Very surprised nobody else picked it up, because this thing was a freaking steal. Now we're going. There we go. Whew. So, cardio and chat with Seymour Mac. So, Seymour Mac, right? So I got a lot of questions on that. Why'd you change your name on Facebook? And a couple things. First of all, I don't want to use my real name on Facebook, although I'm not pretending like it's a possibility to find out. Couple things. I don't really like attaching too much of my personal life, especially work life, to my personal political thoughts or points of views. So therefore I don't use my real name. I don't list the company that I work for, and that is a very conscious decision. I've seen a lot of people's lives get destroyed off of public opinion, and because of things that they've said that, let's face it, in today's politically correct world, you could say anything, and it'll offend somebody. And if they're in the mood to make that a huge thing, it'll just explode. And the social media thing it's a double-sided, it's a double-edged sword. You know, it gives everybody the opportunity to voice their opinions and their points of views, and to spread awareness for things that they deem important to them. But it also gives you a shield of anonymity to hide behind. So you have a lot of people who say things on social media that they would never say if you or that person were standing in front of them, or that group of people. So it really is a double-edged sword. And as somebody who's considered a tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorist, I definitely see it as a tool of the deep state, especially Facebook. I mean, let's face it, it's really no denying that part of it. All you got to do is pay attention a little bit, see the interactions and the relationships of some of the most powerful people in the world with people like Zuckerberg, Bezos, all sorts of heads of industries, and especially technical industries and social media platforms. So I don't think there's really in denying that. It's just which side of the aisle you stand on, so to speak. And I'm not speaking in terms of Republican or Democrat or red or blue, left or right. Just whatever. How can I put this? Let's say a story is ran, and I guess a good case, and this will go left, right, blue, red, Republican, Democrat, is the Comey hearings. So right after the Comey hearings, you could see that whatever is said, it doesn't really matter. What you want it to be is what you will make it. So when I say that, I'm saying people on the right, Trump supporters, Republicans for the most part, conservatives, you know, they watch the Comey hearings And they saw it as a vindication, as proof that there was no pressure from the president to stop the investigation. There was a hope that you will let the Flynn thing go, but he had admitted under oath before, I believe in May, Comey, to there being no pressure at all to stop an investigation. And he even said it again in this latest testimony. But depending on who was asking him the questions, whether it was a Democrat or Republican, he didn't really correct people. So the Democrats, somebody would ask a question and start it off in the form of, so Trump pressured you, told you to stop the case, or the investigation, I should say, and he wouldn't correct them. There was a couple people he did correct, but after a while he just stopped correcting them and basically just started agreeing with them. So I'm no lawyer, but it seems to me, based off of that, in the previous testimony, that he committed perjury, certainly contradicted his own statements, certainly contradicted the mainstream media and what they were hoping for was going to happen. But nevertheless, it's still people on the left, Democrats, they saw that same testimony, that same hearing, and they were running with it. Oh, it's proof. That right there is proof that there was collusion with Russia and the Trump administration, and just basically continuing that narrative. So it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. Whatever the story is, your predetermined outcome is what you're going to make it. So, and I want to apologize to people. They keep tuning in thinking that, like, probably hoping like I'm going to get beat up by police or something really exciting is going to happen. It's not. This is my ploy to motivate myself to do cardio every day. So cardio and chat with Seymour Mac is in full effect. So I do apologize if you were tuning in expecting some outlandish shit to go down. We're just talking. That's it. I'm sweating, burning this fat, trying to get back to a point where my back doesn't hurt anymore. And using this Stairmaster we just got to do it, you know. It's kicking my ass right now. I'm going to do 30 minutes of this. I'm well into it though, so if you're tuning in, wondering, let me see if I can figure out. Where we're at here. Time. Oh, 1 minute left. That's it. We're going to slow it down a little bit here. So, again, cardio and chat with Seymour Mac. Oh yeah, I'm all over the place. This is why I never do a podcast anymore or anything like this, because I can't stay on topic. I wind up going from place to place. So Seymour Mac. People were wondering why I changed my Facebook name to that. Well, one, I was alerted by Facebook several times that my name, Doc Risk, which I've known by ever since I started a Facebook account, and anybody who knows me knows that that was my stage name when I was making music. I was alerted that somebody can't think of the word now. My heart is going crazy. Somebody said that I was using a fake name, and they were forcing me to change my name on Facebook. So they wanted me to send in a copy of my driver's license to prove who I am and all this shit. Cardio, the cardio portion of this is done. And I'll finish telling the story though. And I was obviously not going to be sending my driver's ID to Facebook. Fuck that. So I tried getting around it a couple times, and they just kept going. They were going to shut my account down. And then they actually did shut my account down. So I just added Seymour as the first name, Mac as the last name, Doc Risk as the middle name, or the nickname. And everybody was wondering where the Seymour Mac comes from. So real quick, I spoke about him earlier. My grandfather is a chiropractor, 91 years old, just turned 91. Happy birthday. You're never going to see this video. You're 91, let's face it. You're never going to sign into Facebook. Ever. Excuse me, I'm like falling here. His name is Seymour Mac Goldstein. And my grandfather, somebody who I look up to, is extremely brilliant man. 91, still working. Obviously a huge motivation. So that's where I got the name Seymour Mac from. And in hindsight, that should have been my rap name the whole time. Seymour Mac is a dope ass rap name. So that's what I pretty much go by now on Facebook. But we're gonna end this now. 30 minutes of cardio is done. If I stay true to my word, I will be back tomorrow for some more cardio and chat with Seymour Mac. And again, we can talk about whatever. If anybody wants to tune in, I'm not here thinking that, stroking my ego, that there's going to be a ton of people watching me. There was no more than 3 people on this whole feed at one time. But we could talk about whatever. Doesn't matter. Music, engineering, fixing cars, anything. Politics, anything from politics to fixing cars and everything in between. If there's anything outside of that realm, we could talk about that too. So I will be back tomorrow. Cardio and chat. Burning the fat. Getting back to my fighting weight. Because right now, I'm overweight. And Cousin Karen, love you. Happy to see you. But cardio and chat is over. I will be back tomorrow around the same time. Love you.